furiously through the barren branches of old, gnarled trees as the sky, bloated with dark clouds, threatened a storm. In the small, creaky house at the edge of Greenvale Forest, Mara sat, wrapped in a thin, tattered blanket by a flickering fire. The fire crackled and popped, casting eerie shadows on the walls, while the rain began to tap insistently on the windows. "It's a night full of stories," whispered Mara to her cat, Shadow, who nestled uneasily at her feet. The clock struck midnight, and the house groaned under the weight of the wind. Outside, in the swirling mist, a figure loomed, large and menacing. It moved, slowly, towards the house, its feet making no sound on the wet leaves. Inside, Mara felt a chill run down her spine as she heard the faint, unmistakable creak of the front gate. Shadow hissed, his eyes wide and alert, fixated on the dark hallway leading to the front door. The doorknob rattled slightly, then turned. The door creaked open, revealing nothing but the dense, impenetrable darkness of the night. Mara, her heart pounding, stood up, her eyes straining to see through the gloom. "Who's there?" she called out, her voice trembling. There was no answer, just the sound of the rain drumming harder against the house. She stepped forward, cautiously, her hands searching for the baseball bat she kept, always, nearby. Her fingers wrapped around the cold, metal bat, just as a bolt of lightning illuminated the room, and for a brief, horrifying second, she saw a face, pale and distorted, staring back at her from the darkness. The lights flickered, then died, plunging the house into darkness. Mara screamed, swinging the bat wildly as she felt a cold, clammy hand grab her wrist. The grip tightened, painfully, and she was pulled, forcefully, toward the door. She fought, desperately, kicking and screaming, but the hand dragged her closer and closer to the outside. Suddenly, there was a loud, shrill meow, and Shadow leapt, furiously, onto the assailant. The grip loosened, and Mara broke free, running back into the depths of her house. She slammed the door shut, locking it, and backed away, breathing heavily. Her heart raced, her body shook, but she had to stay alert. The house was silent now, save for the beating of her own heart, and the rain, pelting the windows like small stones. Mara did not dare move. She listened, intently, for any sound, any movement, but there was nothing. Hours seemed to pass, as she stood, frozen, in the dark, until the first light of dawn began to seep through the curtains. As the light grew, it revealed the disarray of her once cozy living room, and the open windows through which the storm had entered. The realization hit her, suddenly, that the front door was still locked from the inside. If someone had come in, they were still there. She moved, slowly, her eyes scanning every shadow, every corner, as she made her way through the house. The rooms were empty, the silence unnerving. She reached the kitchen, and that's when she saw it. The back door was wide open, swinging in the wind, and muddy footprints led from the door, through the kitchen, into the hallway, and stopped, abruptly, right at the front door. Mara followed the prints with her eyes, her mind racing. How had they entered? Why did they leave? Her gaze returned to the kitchen, and she noticed something glistening on the floor. She stepped closer, her heart in her throat, and saw, to her horror, that it was a small, bloody knife lying next to a muddy footprint. She reached for her phone to call the police, but it was gone. Panic surged through her as she remembered hearing it ring during the struggle, lost now somewhere in the chaos. She needed to get out, to find help, but as she turned to leave, she heard it. A soft, chilling whisper right behind her, saying, "Don't go yet. The stories aren't over." The voice trailed off, as if carried away by the wind, and Mara spun around, clutching the bat, her eyes wide with terror. The room was empty. The voice had come from nowhere, or perhaps it was just in her head. But Mara knew she wasn't alone. She could feel eyes on her, watching her every move. The terror gripped her more firmly than the cold hand from the night. She was in her house, but she was far from safe. The rain continued to fall, heavier now, as if trying to wash away the night's horrors. But the deep, dark secrets of the old house and the forest that guarded it were not so easily erased. As Mara stood in the middle of her kitchen, the realization dawned on her that the true horror was not what had come with the storm, but what had always been there, hidden in the walls, in the ground, in the very air she breathed. With the knife in one hand and the bat in the other, Mara prepared to face whatever lay ahead. The house creaked, mournfully, as if in warning. The day was breaking, but the darkness was far from over. It lingered, thick and suffocating, waiting for the night to return. As Mara steeled herself against the unknown, she knew one thing for certain. The stories were far from over, and the night was just beginning. Mara's breath, shallow and rapid, echoed eerily through the silent kitchen. Her fingers tightened reflexively around the bat and knife as her eyes darted nervously from shadow to shadow. The morning light, weak and gray, spilled feebly through the open door, casting long, twisted shadows across the floor. She could feel the house holding its breath with her, waiting for something or someone to shatter the delicate peace that the daylight had brought. Outside, the rain had lessened, but the wind still moaned mournfully through the trees, carrying with it whispers of forgotten secrets. Mara's skin crawled, as if the very air around her was alive with unseen threats. She moved slowly towards the back door, her eyes never leaving the open threshold, her every sense on high alert. The muddy footprints, now partially washed away by the rain, seemed to beckon her silently outside. Stepping carefully over the threshold, she found herself staring into the dense, wet underbrush that marked the beginning of Greenvale Forest. The trees, ancient and stoic, stood like sentinels, guarding the mysteries hidden in their depths. Mara's home, nestled on the edge of this vast, dark woodland, had always felt isolated, but never threatening. Now, however, the forest seemed to stare back at her, with dark, hollow eyes, filled with malice. A sudden, sharp crack, from deep within the woods, snapped her attention to a particularly thick cluster of trees. Her heart jumped into her throat, and she clutched her makeshift weapons tighter. The sound was too deliberate, too forceful, to be the work of the wind alone. Someone, or something, was out there, watching, waiting. The realization sent a shiver down her spine, and she stepped back towards the safety of her house. As she turned, a gust of wind slammed the back door shut with a bang that echoed like a gunshot through the air. Mara spun around, her nerves frayed, her mind racing. The sudden noise had jarred her, and now the quiet seemed even more oppressive, more ominous. She reopened the door, her movements quick, her eyes wide and searching. The house behind her seemed to creak louder, as if urging her to leave the doorway, to hide from whatever lurked outside. With a deep, steadying breath, Mara stepped back into the house. The darkness inside seemed to swallow her whole, as the light from outside did little to penetrate the gloom. She needed to find her phone, to call for help, but the memory of the voice, whispering behind her, made her hesitate. Was it safer to venture back into the house, where unseen whispers could touch her, or to face the known dangers of the forest? Her decision was made for her when the whisper returned, louder, more insistent. "Don't leave," it breathed, sending a wave of cold dread through her body. The voice was so close, it could have been right next to her ear, but when she whipped around, there was nothing, just the empty room and the echoes of her own ragged breathing. Mara's mind reeled, her fear mounting, as she realized she couldn't trust her own senses. The house, with its shifting shadows and creaking walls, seemed to be playing tricks on her, warping reality into something nightmarish. But she wouldn't let fear paralyze her. She had to keep moving, had to find her phone. Moving deeper into the house, Mara's eyes strained in the dim light. Every creak, every rustle of the wind seemed amplified, as if the house itself was alive, with malevolent intent. She remembered dropping her phone in the living room during the struggle, so she made her way there, her steps tentative, her body tensed for any sudden movements. The living room was a mess, the furniture overturned, books and knickknacks scattered across the floor. The remnants of last night's chaos lay all around her, a stark reminder of the terror that had visited her home. She began to sift through the debris, her hands shaking as she moved cushions, lifted chairs, and looked under the table. As she searched, the house settled with a groan, and the rain outside picked up again. The sound of it tapping against the windows was supposed to be soothing, but tonight it sounded like fingernails scratching at the glass, desperate to get in. Mara froze, listening, as the tapping seemed to grow louder, more insistent. Then, amidst the noise of the storm, she heard it again, that whisper right behind her, "I'm still here." Mara spun around, her heart hammering in her chest, her breath catching in her throat. The room behind her remained empty, the only movement the flickering shadows cast by the unsteady flame of a candle she had left burning. The whisper seemed to mock her, its presence felt but unseen, a disembodied voice weaving through the darkness. Her grip on the bed tightened, a futile defense against the creeping terror that slithered, unseen, through her home. The rain intensified, pounding against the windows like an angry mob, desperate to break in. Mara could barely hear her own thoughts over the roar of the storm, yet the whispers cut through, clear and chilling. She needed to find her phone, to call for help, but the seemingly simple task had turned into a nightmare, with every shadow potentially harboring unseen horrors. Desperation crept in as she continued her search. Her hands finally brushed against the cold, hard plastic of her phone under a fallen pillow. With trembling fingers, she snatched it up, the screen lighting up, a small island of illumination in the oppressive darkness. The battery was low, the signal weak, a reflection of her dwindling hope, but it was enough. She dialed 911, the numbers glowing, accusingly, in the dark. As she pressed the phone to her ear, the static-filled silence that greeted her was abruptly shattered by a loud crash from the back of the house. Mara jumped, her pulse skyrocketing. The call connected, and she barely managed to whisper her address to the dispatcher when another crash, closer this time, echoed through the house. The line went dead, the signal lost, and Mara was left clutching a useless piece of plastic. She had to get out. The realization struck her with the force of a thunderclap. Whatever was in the house with her, it was coming closer, growing bolder. She couldn't wait for help that might not arrive in time. Grabbing the bat with both hands, she moved towards the front door, her every step cautious, her eyes scanning the darkness for any sign of movement. As she reached the hallway, the air grew inexplicably colder, the atmosphere charged with a palpable sense of dread. The whispers grew louder, a cacophony of hisses that seemed to come from the very walls themselves. "Stay," they hissed. "Stay with us." Mara's resolve wavered, fear rooting her to the spot for a heart-stopping moment. Then, survival instinct took over, and she lunged for the door. She threw it open, the wind and rain greeting her like old enemies. The storm had transformed her quiet street into a swirling chaos of leaves and debris. She stepped out into the night, her clothes instantly soaked by the deluge. Behind her, the house seemed to groan, mournfully, as if lamenting her departure. Mara didn't look back. She ran, her feet splashing through puddles, her mind singularly focused on escape. The streetlights flickered overhead, casting eerie, dancing shadows on the wet pavement. Every rustling leaf, every shifting shadow made her heart skip, her nerves strung tight as piano wire. She ran without direction, driven by the primal need to escape the terror that had invaded her home. The rain blinded her, the wind whipped her hair into her eyes, but she kept moving, her legs pumping, her lungs burning. She didn't know where she was going. She only knew she had to keep moving, to put as much distance as she could between herself and the house. After what felt like an eternity, Mara saw lights ahead, the the glow of an all-night diner, a beacon in the storm. She pushed through the door, gasping, dripping, her appearance startling the few late-night patrons. The warmth of the diner enveloped her, a stark contrast to the cold fear that had chased her through the streets. As she collapsed into a booth, the adrenaline that had fueled her flight began to ebb, leaving her shaking, exhausted. The whispers were gone, drowned out by the mundane sounds of the diner, the clink of dishes, the murmur of conversation. She was safe, for now, but as she caught her breath, her eyes drawn to the window, where the storm raged on, she knew the night was far from over. In the safety of the diner, Mara sat shivering, her wet clothes clinging to her frame, as the waitress approached with a concerned frown and a hot cup of coffee. "You look like you've seen a ghost, dear," the waitress said, sliding the cup across the table. Mara forced a weak smile, accepting the coffee with hands that could barely stop trembling. The warmth from the cup seeped into her palms, grounding her to the moment, to the safety of the public space. As she sipped the bitter brew, her mind raced, trying to make sense of the night's horrors. The voice that whispered from the shadows, the invisible force that moved through her home, all seemed surreal now, separated by the veil of the storm outside. Yet, the terror was real as the rain that soaked through her bones. After a few moments, Mara felt composed enough to pull out her phone again, this time to send a text to her brother, who lived in the next town over. She quickly typed out a message explaining her situation and asking for help. As she hit send, the signal bars wavered, and the message went through, a small victory against the night's relentless assault. With her brother on the way, Mara allowed herself a moment of relief, her eyes wandering to the window where the rain painted trails down the glass. The diner was a small island of light in the dark, stormy night, a sanctuary from the inexplicable events at her home. The patrons around her continued their meals, oblivious to the storm inside her, their laughter and chatter a balm to her frayed nerves. As she waited, Mara replayed the night's events, trying to discern reality from her panicked perception. The more she thought about it, the more she realized that the whispers might not have been a product of an intruder or a ghost, but perhaps they were manifestations of her own isolation and fear, amplified by the storm and the eerie history of her family home. Just as she was beginning to calm, a sudden gust of wind slammed against the diner's windows, startling everyone inside. Mara's heart skipped a beat, but then she saw it, a face, pale and distorted, pressed against the glass, its eyes hollow, its mouth moving as if whispering through the storm. Mara froze, her coffee cup halfway to her lips, as the face slid away, swallowed by the darkness. The room spun, and Mara felt the diner fade around her, the voices dimming, the lights blurring. Was she losing her mind? Was the stress and fear manifesting into hallucinations now? She closed her eyes, trying to steady her breath, to regain control, but when she opened them again, she wasn't in the diner anymore. She was back in her house, standing in the hallway, the storm raging outside, the whispers louder than ever. "No," she whispered, a panic rising in her throat. "This can't be real." But the cold, clammy air, the dark, twisting shadows, they were all too familiar, all too real. As Mara stood, frozen, the whispers coalesced into a voice, clear and undeniable. "You can never leave," it said, the words echoing down the hall, chilling her to the bone. Mara's survival instincts kicked in once more, and she ran, not knowing where she could possibly go. She burst through the back door, into the woods, the trees now specters in the fog, their branches reaching for her as she passed. The ground was slippery, the mud pulling at her feet, but she kept moving, driven by a primal urge to escape. Suddenly, ahead in the darkness, a light glowed, warm and inviting. It was a small cabin, its door ajar, a stark contrast to the oppressive darkness of the forest. With the last of her strength, Mara pushed toward it, her body on the verge of collapse. She stumbled into the cabin, and as she crossed the threshold, the storm seemed to cease instantaneously. The cabin was warm, the fireplace alight with a roaring fire, the room empty but for a single, old book on the table. Mara approached it, her curiosity overcoming her fear, and saw that it was a journal, her grandmother's journal, filled with tales of the supernatural and warnings of a curse on their family, tied to the land itself. The realization hit Mara like a wave. She was part of something older, deeper than she had ever imagined. The whispers, the apparitions, they were her ancestors, bound to the forest, reaching out to her, the last of their line. As she absorbed the truth, the cabin filled with a soft, ethereal light, and the whispers turned to sighs, peaceful at last. Mara understood now. She was home, truly home, connected to her past and to the spirits that guarded it. With a newfound resolve, she knew she would not leave. Instead, she would learn, she would guard, and she would keep the stories alive. The storm had passed, and in the newfound silence of the cabin, Mara felt a peace she had not known before. The horrors of the night had led her here, to her true legacy. She was no longer running from the shadows. She was embracing them, and in doing so, she had found her place in the world. The whispers might never fully leave her, but now, they were a part of her story, a story that was far from over. But for now, the dawn was breaking, and Mara was no longer afraid.